I'd like to call the April Elizabethan Board of Education meeting to order. At this time, we will have a moment of silence and the pledge to the flag. I'll ask everyone to stand. I'll ask Mr. Van Huss if he will lead us in that.
Please pause for a moment of silence. Thank you. Attention, salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This time, it's time to approve the consent and regular agenda. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second. Any questions or anything with that? Okay. All those in favor of approving the consent and regular agenda, please say aye. Aye. And any opposed? And there are none. Next is time for citizens to speak. We didn't have anyone ask to speak tonight, so we'll move on to special recognition, and I'll turn that over to Mr. Van Huss.
Thank you, Mr. Pless. We have several groups to recognize tonight. Thanks for everyone for coming out. First of all, we're going to recognize a group of teachers that have been participating in a group that's called CER, and basically they've been tasked with working with other school districts and teachers across the region to help develop curriculum that, again, is developed by teachers in Northeast Tennessee, high-quality lessons. They've put those lessons together, they've reviewed each other's materials, and then that's a resource that other teachers across the region, again, can turn around and use. And so we're very appreciative of teachers taking the time and the willingness to share that material with others. So we're blessed to have as many teachers as we do that take part in that, because we're very proud of everything that they do. And the fact that, again, that they're willing to share that with others across the area, we're very appreciative. So I'm going to name these individuals. If you'll come up front right here, and we'll try to take a group picture. I'm not sure, I don't think that everyone's here, but we'll recognize everyone anyway. So Janie White, Matt Fox, Kristen Waite, Brennan Trent, Denise Hilton. You're not going to be by yourself. Rachel Wagner, Brandy McLeod, and Travis Pennell. So again, thank you all very much for your willingness to do that. It's been a ton of work, but I know that, again, the other teachers across the district are very appreciative of your willingness to share. So if we can give them a round of applause. The next group we would like to recognize are drama students from Elizabethan and T.A. Duggar. And if I can, I'll ask Ms. Foster to come up and share some information about the different productions that they've put on this year, as well as one soon to be out. So.
Thank you so much. Thank you for recognizing us. We love recognition. A year ago, we were in the midst of a project in the fall. This was fall 2020. It was a film project. It was a great idea, but the hybrid model just wasn't very conducive to our plans. So this was a know when to hold them, know when to fold them situation, and so we did. And I saw an opportunity. The musical theater corporations were giving us an opportunity to have a musical, which we had started in the spring of 2020, but of course COVID shut that down. And we had the chance to do a musical, our first musical. We were really excited, but the catch was it had to be filmed. for safety reasons. So a year ago, while most people on their Wednesdays were leisure doing asynchronous instruction and Zoom calls, we were in the classroom filming, using a green screen, editing, learning to sing, learning to direct. So this time last year, we were really buckling down and doing things that we did not expect that we could do. So we, a year ago, made a full-length, hour-long film with green screen work, editing, everything using Adobe, using industry-style cameras, using music recording equipment, and we produce Beauty and the Beast in 60 minutes. And we're really proud of that because we learned a lot, and we've had several graduates who participate in EHS drama that they would go on and become film majors, and they would have no film experience because it was a theater program. So I felt really good about having given students the film and the theater experience. So that was a unique experience that we could do within the last year. This fall, we were very fortunate to be able to have live theater, and we did our first full-length on-stage musical, which was The Addams Family, and we were very proud of that. And we were blessed to be able to do that at TA Duggar and the support that they gave us. And then the one coming up, we've also, in that time, we've also had forensics. Forensics is not about dead people, in case you're wondering. Forensics is about, it comes from forums, so it's about public speaking and debate in theater. I got a hold of that about 2018, tried to start a team in 2019. Once again, COVID hit again. And so this was our best participation since then, because once again, everything else was by Zoom, and it's not very enticing to do that. So we had a forensics competition. We took a one-act to forensics, and we had individual events, and we're hoping to grow that program as well. And finally, our upcoming production, we have 2 one-acts. That's Not How I Remember It and Oz. And Oz is the one that we took to competition. And they will be May 6th and 7th, May 6th at 7:30, and May 7th at 2:30 and 7:30. And that's at the Bonnie Kate Theater. And these, just a brief summary, That's Not How I Remember It takes place in the 80s. It's a nice little romp into every 80s movie trope you've ever heard. And we pay homage to every one of those. But it's the story of a mom and dad telling their child how they met. They both have different perspectives, comedy ensues. And then Oz is the story of grief as told through The Wizard of Oz. But I always liken it to like a Pixar movie, to where it's very lighthearted, and then it lands a hard truth and it goes right back up again. So we've had a really magnificent year over the last year, and we've accomplished a lot, and I'm very proud of them. So thank you.
That's great.
All right.
And maybe some come back on the platform there, and you can do 2 rows. Yeah.
That's why he gets paid.
He must be in charge.
That's why you're superintendent.
Come on, Meg.
And I'll do a shameless plug for you as well. If you didn't have a chance to see The Addams Family, you missed out. So I can assure you that you won't be sorry if you show up on May 6th or May 7th at Bonnie Kate. So I would encourage you to do that. So,
Mr. Van Huss,
Yes,
can I say something?
absolutely.
I've forgotten exactly the first one I saw, but I've not missed one since. And it is unbelievable, the quality of the production. And I just totally enjoy those and can't wait for the next one. This last one was a little tougher because I had to sit beside a Brian Colbert, but other than that, it was great. And I haven't been disappointed a single time. They just do a great job.
It was.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you. Next, we want to recognize the Elizabethan High School, the Betsy Band. So if Mr. Valentine, if you'll come up.
Thank you guys so much for having me and for our students. It's been a really fantastic first year as the new director of Elizabethan High School Betsy Band. It's been a truly banner year, as honestly these students have exceeded all my expectations. And it's really a testament to you guys and the support that you give them, as well as their families and the community and the support that the school and this community gives to the band program. It's truly, truly special here, and I'm excited to be here, and I'm super excited for the future. In the fall, the Betsy Marching Band was only beaten by 2 bands in 5 competitions. That most of the competitions we went to had anywhere between 15, 20, 25 bands that competed. We won 3 local competitions: Tennessee High, Music in the Castle, John Battle Invitational, and we went to Knoxville, not really local, Carnes Invitational. And then we went to Western Carolina, and that's where we were the reserve grand champion, and we beat a nationally ranked band at that one and got second to Dobbins Bennett. And then at our 2A state championship, we were able to secure second place for that one as well, reserve grand champion, and our color guard won a state championship. We had 7 students that made the All-State East ensemble, which is competitive from 9th through 12th for all bands east of Knoxville. We had seven students make that. Our concert bands then split into 2 bands, and I took the top band to go play in front of judges at an assessment, and we got an excellent rating. And then we had about 100 plus superior ratings at solo and ensemble, which is a small solo and ensemble event. And then we are going to have our spring concert on May the 5th. We did also have 1 all-state student who's here with us tonight, Ethan Horton. We just found out yesterday is 5th chair all-state in the 11th, 12th grade Tennessee All-State Band, which is a pretty incredible individual accomplishment. And it's even more incredible because he's done it 3 years in a row, which is pretty special. So, and so I'm super proud of him. He's gonna get to go to Nashville next week to be a part of the All-State Band for the first time. He's made it 3 times in a row, but this will be the first time he's actually gotten to go, which is a testament to his hard work, and it's all going to pay off 3 years worth of work for that. So tonight we have the seniors and a couple of our leadership students, and these seniors have been a big reason why we were successful this year, because at the end of the day, I may have the title as their band director, but in a lot of ways I'm not their band director, right? They had Perry Elliott for 3 years, and they got to experience all the things that he put into the program, and so the fact that they even accepted me and worked as hard as they did is a testament to how awesome that they are, including our fantastic student liaison here, Miss Maggie. And so I just want to take this time to thank you guys and to thank them and to recognize them and appreciation for their hard work.
Awesome. Yeah, come on up.
The band always has no problem getting together for a picture, so don't ruin it this year. Okay? Very good.
There you go. There's a lot of talent right there.
Thank you. Our last group, we'd like to recognize some students that took part in the TSBA Scope Conference from Elizabethan High School. So Dr. Mitten will come up and share that.
Thank you. Very proud of our band students. They got out of here before they were smart. They got out of here before anything else. But proud of them, and also proud of our drama students. I would say, true, Coach. It's fantastic. My youngest daughter, and I were able to go for a daddy-daughter afternoon for the Adams family, and we were just blown away. At just how good the performance was. Our arts never cease to amaze me. So, very proud of them. TSBA Scope Conference. We had 11 applicants. So in 2018. We started making available the opportunity for students to apply and go to the Scope Conference. It's an opportunity for student leaders across the state, student leaders within schools across the state to get together and learn about school boards and learn about how school boards operate and about how policy is driven and about how decisions are made, as you all well know that from your experience in your roles. And so we had 11 applicants. We made it public for a couple weeks, had 11 applicants, and we brought students in and asked them specific questions that were going to be debate questions at the Scope Conference, received their answers, did just a scoring system, a number scoring system with myself and 3 others. Elijah Smith, Ashlyn Meadows, who's with us here now, Caitlin Glover, who's also here, and Riley Rubel were the 4 that represented Elizabethan. And they were able to go down there and learn a little bit about how that process works. And so the interesting thing, because they presented to our Community Partnership Advisory Group last week, we learned a little bit about how that worked, was that they were placed in positions on some topics where they didn't necessarily agree with the topic, but they had to take a stance on it and debate it and work together, and then they had a school board meeting at the end. So it was a day-long event. Thanks to Mr. Hensley for promoting that as part of, obviously, our school board liaison representation and how important that is to us to make sure we include student voice and so they understand about how that works. So we just wanted to recognize them and just put them up front, just to let them know that we're proud of them for going down and just representing Elizabethan with class and with dignity and doing all the things that they've always done, because student leadership is important. And for them to get a chance to engage with other student leaders across the state was a very valuable experience. So if the 2 of you don't mind to come up, you're welcome to say anything if you like, if I missed anything. If not, again, it's Elijah Smith, Ashlyn and Caitlin who are here with us, and Riley Rubel. So we're tremendously proud of them. You guys want to say anything? Great.
Hello, everybody. My name's Ashlyn. We just wanted to say thank you all for letting us go down there and, represent Elizabethan. We did learn a lot down there and how much actually goes into a school board and what all it actually takes to keep, our city schools running. And it was a lot of fun, I would say, on behalf of all 4 of us. The other 2 weren't here tonight, but on behalf of all 4 of us, we did have a lot of fun, and it was a lot of, learning how to deal with everything in a school board and get to talk about topics that we usually don't get to talk about, and adults say, okay, we want to know your perspective from inside the classroom. So we just want to say thank you all, and thank you for letting us go, and thank you to Dr. Minton and Mr. Hensley for giving us the opportunity. So thank you.
So yes, so we have some certificates, and if you'll slide up here, we'll take a quick photo. Thank you.
Okay. All right. And if you want to stay, ladies, you're more than welcome. But if you need to head out, you're more than welcome to do that. Thank you all for being here. Next, it's time for the director's update. So I'll let Mr. Van Huss go ahead and bring that.
Thank you, sir. Just a couple of updates. First of all, this last week, Ms. Malone and the art teachers across the system had the first community art show, and we had over 40 pieces of art created by our students across the district, and that was the display was was located at the Chamber of Commerce, their new facility downtown. And it was fantastic. They had a reception last week, and the students got to come in, their families, see all the artwork, and it was a great night. We just to see those students, see their faces, just so proud of their artwork and their families as well. It was great. And then at the conclusion of that, individuals had the opportunity to purchase the artwork, and so they raised over $1,500, and that went toward the Isaiah 117 house here in Carter County. So it was a great way to recognize our students and their talents, a great opportunity for their families to see that and obviously celebrate them. And then the funding that was generated went to a great cause. So just really want to thank, again, Ms. Malone, Mr. Roberts, Ms. Miller, Ms. Harris, and Ms. Berry for all their work in putting that together. It was fantastic. I've already put the pressure on Miss Malone. We need to do it again next year, and it needs to be even bigger than it was this year. But again, just a great night, and we appreciate again all their hard work. We continue to follow, as I mentioned in the budget workshop, the potential new funding formula as it progresses through the state legislature. It does look promising that will indeed pass. However, the devil's in the details. Both bodies, the House and the Senate, continue to let that make its way through their committees, and there are different amendments that have been added along the way. So at the conclusion of that, they'll have to come to some kind of understanding and agreement before both houses would vote on the final piece. So we'll continue to keep you updated on that. But again, as a district, basically as a region, Northeast Tennessee, all the directors sent a letter to legislators and the State Department voicing our support for the new funding formula. So we are excited about the potential benefits that our system could realize from that new formula. We'll continue to keep you updated on that. Today, actually this morning, the high school hosted the Chamber of Commerce membership breakfast. And of course, Mr. O'Quinn is the president of the chamber at this point, so he may want to share some of that. But it was a great chance for members of our community to see all the great work that's going on in our schools, and it's just a chance to visit. And it was just a fantastic morning from my perspective. We also had a group from the XQ Super School Institute visiting the high school today as well, and talking about all the great things and the work that's going on there. Very excited about their visit, as well as the potential for a future partnership continuing with that organization. We're very thankful for all that they've done to help make Elizabethan High School basically out there on the forefront of as we rethink what high schools should be across the country. So very appreciative of them taking time out to be here with us today. Wanted to mention one other thing on the consent agenda. You'll notice that we have another mental health counselor that's been approved through a grant that Frontier Health secured. So we now have 3 mental health counselors that are working across the district. That's much better than where we were just a couple short years ago. We only had 1, so now we have 3. Obviously, there's tons of need out there beyond just that 3 individuals, but we appreciate, again, the partnership with Frontier Health going out and securing that grant. It's my understanding that there's some potential legislation in the state making its way again through the House and Senate to potentially add a mental health counselor, 1 for every school, or at least 1 every 250 students. So the state recognizes that's a huge need across our schools, and so we're very hopeful that will continue to progress and become a reality as well. That's all I have.
Okay. All right. Do you want to add anything about that, or you?
Yeah, I was going to mention when you.
Okay. Well, we'll just do board member reports. Have at it.
I'm glad Mr. Van has mentioned that. Dr. Minton, I just want to say great job, you and your staff, on the breakfast this morning. It's great to bring the community in to see what's going on inside the school, and it's changed so much since I was there. It's amazing to walk through and see the progress that we've made, the looks, the equipment and stuff that we've been able to get. So just Mr. Schertz, his culinary staff did a great job on breakfast. Miss Googe and the advanced ensemble singing. It was awesome, and doing the tours and stuff. So I just want to thank you, and again, compliment your staff and the students on a great morning this morning. So thank you.
Any other members with anything? Okay. It's time for the City Council Liaison Report, and I believe that they're in a budget workshop, or they're in a meeting tonight.
I think so.
So, again, Mr. Simmerly will not be able to be here tonight. And then Miss Maggie, anything from the student side?
Going on off the mental health, another position for that. As a student, it means a lot to see the school board and the school districts adding things like that, because we've asked for that for a long time, and so that just really means a lot. And I know multiple students go and find comfort and like how much that those positions actually help. So just thank you. Yeah, and that's all I have.
All right. Okay. Good deal. Well, thank you. Okay, we'll move on to the regular agenda. First item on the agenda is to approve first reading of revised board policy 6.206, transfers within the system. Can I get a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
And a second?
Second.
A second, okay.
So,
And-
brief description of this. So, last year, the legislature enacted a new procedure for all districts to follow for open enrollment. And again, open enrollment refers to opportunities for students within the district to have the opportunity to go to other schools for which they may not be zoned for. So that really only affects us in Elizabethan with the 3 elementary schools. So as you know, we've had a procedure in place for many, many years on how we address those requests as well as tuition requests for new students in the school system. So the rules that are now in place required us to do some changes in policy. We now are required to, 30 days prior to the open enrollment period beginning, we have to list how many spots are available at each school and each grade level. And again, we're only talking about the elementary because there's only one option for junior high and high school in the system. So there's some of those nuances, so we felt like it was important to add some language that outlines, that mirrors state law and those new requirements. So really, it doesn't change a whole lot for us. It does make it a little bit more cumbersome what we do, but at the end of the day, I really don't think that it's that drastic of a change. Again, it's a little more work on our end, but really won't affect individuals in the city. We will be notifying individuals of spots that are available if they're in those spots quicker than past the first half day, which is when we typically do that. We work through all that once we know hard and fast numbers. So it's a little scary from our standpoint when you're at this point in time, we're in April, and we're trying to determine how many spots we have at each grade level at each school. That's been a bit of a challenge. It's really a challenge at the kindergarten level when, you know, we've had pre-registration at all 3 schools, but for those of you that have been in the system and know, the ones that show up on that day won't be the only ones that show up the first day of school. So that's been a bit of a challenge that we're trying to work through. But the one other nuance, if we have a request for a specific grade level to a specific school that exceeds the number of slots we have available, we have to actually do a lottery process from those individuals to determine who gets those spots. So there's another layer in there that may add some work on our part, but we've already talked about how we would do that, and we would do that in the public where individuals could see how the lottery goes. But hopefully we won't have that issue. We'll be able to meet all the requests without doing that. Any questions on that?
Okay. Items to approve first reading of revised board policy 6.206, transfers within the system. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. And any opposed? And there are none. Next item, to approve first reading of revised board policy 6.600, student records. Can I get a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
And a second.
Second.
Second. Okay.
So quick explanation on this one. In working with Ms. Owen on some other matters involving school system and different programs, as you know, the number of different computer programs, software, things like that we continue to add in the district. There was some question about how the best way when you share data, what you identify as who is a school official. And in speaking with Ms. Owen after reading our policy, she said you really need to tighten that language up to include some of those entities. So that's what this language is. I'll give you one example. One of the items that you're going to consider here in a moment is the Best for All District grant, and part of that is we're working with a software company that basically provides teachers an opportunity to monitor activity on our Chromebooks. When students are in class, they can actually see exactly what's going on in the Chromebook. So that's, through that discussion, led to this point on this policy that if we enter that agreement with that company, they need to be considered a school official based on that information. So that's just one example of where she said that we really need to tighten that language up.
Okay. Any comments or questions? Okay. Item is to approve first reading of revised Board Policy 6.600, student records. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. And any opposed? There are none. Okay, next item, to approve the Elizabethan Public District Fiscal Year 2022 Fiscal Pre-Monitoring Supports Grant in agreement with Blackburn, Childress, and Stegall CPAs. Can I get a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve and a second.
Second.
Second, okay.
So this is a state grant opportunity for us to utilize, which made sense to us, utilize our auditors to help us with all of the ESSER reporting that's required as we continue to have to report on the use of those funds, the tracking, the monitoring, all of those things. So this grant will allow us to partner with them, and there'll just be another layer of support in there for us as we navigate this. Again, the documentation on what's going to be required for us to supply to the state and federal government on how we've used these funds continues to change. The monitoring document was just finalized yesterday. So that just gives you an example. It's almost like, in a lot of ways, it's a moving target, which we've gotten really good at trying to hit moving targets over the years, but we really feel like that this will give us an opportunity to have another layer in there, another set of eyes on what we're doing and how we proceed to put us in the best posture to make sure, at the end of the day, we want to be transparent on how we spend those funds, and we want it to be for the best use of the students in our district. So this will allow us to do that.
Okay. All right. Item is to approve the Elizabethan Public District Fiscal Year 2022 Fiscal Pre-Monitoring Supports Grant in agreement with Blackburn, Childress, and Stegall CPAs. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. And any opposed? And there are none. Next item, approve the Elizabethan Public District Fiscal Year 2022 Best for All District Grant. Can I get a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve and a second.
Second.
Second, thank you. All right.
This was a $200,000 grant that we were eligible for based on the fact that we've been designated as a Best for All district. And again, I think I may have mentioned that a couple months ago. If we as a district spent at least 50% of our ESSER 3 award, if we spent at least 50% of that amount on proven research-based strategies on improving outcomes for students, then we were designated as this Best for All district. So this is one of those benefits. So this $200,000 grant, we're proposing two things. Number one, we've had tremendous success with our T&All core tutoring at the elementary and junior high level. But who's kind of missed out on that's been the high school. So we're proposing with this, number one, is to implement a T&All core tutoring in school during the school day, a tutoring program for the high school focused on math. And so basically you'll see another item down here. It is item F. That's basically the positions that would be funded by this grant. So we would hire a teacher and an assistant to help, similar to the way we're operating in the junior high and the elementary schools. The other thing is the software that I just mentioned that allows us to monitor the usage of our devices, and we hope to have that contract ironed out, the details on that, and share that with you for approval in May. So that's the two things that are included in this particular grant.
All right. Any questions there? Is it the math tutoring not subject specific, just where needed?
Yeah, probably the initial focus would probably be on
Algebra 1.
Algebra 1.
Okay.
And then depending on what the numbers look like and how that moves forward, it could branch out into geometry and potentially Algebra 2.
Okay. All right. So item is to approve the Elizabethan Public District Fiscal Year 2022 Best for All District Grant. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And any opposed? Motion carries. All right. Next item, ratify a licensed psychologist services contract between Elizabethan City Board of Education and Dr. Chastity Chartier for psychological services for Elizabethan City Schools from April 18th, 2022 through June 30, 2023. Can I get a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve, and a second?
Second.
Second, thank you.
Part of the, we've utilized 2 individuals for psychological services. And when I talk about psychological services, the real focus is any testing that we need to do for someone that may need that based on a special need. We've been utilizing 2 individuals for that. Probably 3 years ago, we had 3 people that worked with that. But there's been a real shortage across the state and the nation for psychological services for school systems. So we've been technically down 1 person for, again, probably 2 or 3 years. Well, one of the 2 that we have remaining has some health concerns, and so we really needed an opportunity to reach out, and we were fortunate to find someone that was willing to work with us and with our students. So we certainly are hopeful that the psychologists with health issues, that will continue to prove and be back. But even if that's the case, this almost gets us back to where we were a few years ago, and it's a tremendous burden on just 2 people. And it's been a real burden on the special ed department because there are timelines on these things, and that's why we're asking you to ratify it, because we really couldn't afford to wait even another week, because those timelines continue to move on, and there's not a lot of forgiveness at the State Department when you miss those deadlines. So, and there's opportunity for there to be, for them to file grievances and things like that against the school system if we don't meet those timelines. So regardless of the health of one of those individuals, we'd ask you to consider this, and if all goes well, we would probably look to extend that beyond June 30th of next year.
All right, comments or questions? Okay, item is to ratify a licensed psychologist services contract between Elizabethan City Board of Education and Chastity Chartier, Dr. Chastity Chartier, for psychological services for Elizabethan City Schools from April 18th, 2022 through June 30th, 2023. All those in favor, please say aye. 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 And any opposed? Motion carries. Next item, approve creation of a full-time teacher position and full-time teacher assistant position to provide in-school math support at Elizabethan High School for the 2022-2023 school year or until grant funding is exhausted. Can I get a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Motion and second. Second, all right.
So this is what I referenced earlier, back with the Best for All District grant. That's how we would pay for this. And if things go well, we may even look at possibly carving out a little money from ESSER 3 to extend that at least another year. So we're very hopeful that it will be a real asset to the high school, and again, give us an opportunity to kind of boost some of those scores and help some students push through that Algebra 1 course. That we had a discussion today. I think nationally, Algebra 1 is the course that's probably failed most often by students. So I feel like this is an opportunity to try to intervene before that happens.
Okay. All right. Item is to approve creation of a full-time teacher position and a full-time teacher assistant position to provide in-school math support at Elizabethan High School for the 2022-2023 school year or until grant funding is exhausted. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And any opposed? And there are none. Last item, approve the creation of 2 part-time summer library interns and 1 grant manager utilizing funding received through the American Rescue Plan Humanities grants for libraries. Can I get a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Okay, motion and a second.
Second.
And a second. All right.
So several months ago, Mr. Hensley, the media specialist at the high school, wrote a potential grant with the Humanities through the ARP, again, that's relief funds, to create some positions to help us gather some information specifically on the history of the building we're sitting in right now in Douglas School. So if Mr. Hensley, if you would like to come up and briefly just tell them kind of what you envision with this. Again, it's a grant funding for these positions. Just as a board, you would need to take action to create those positions so we could hire people to fill those roles. So,
Yeah, like you said, we've already received the funding for these positions, and I greatly appreciate your consideration of approving the positions. The 2 internship positions would be for current college students, either graduate or undergraduate students, potentially or preferably with a focus on history or communication students. And again, more preference for Elizabethan High School graduates because they know the community a lot better. And what the positions would be doing is they would be working in the community. They would be doing community events to try to bring in people to do oral storytelling interviews, get different artifacts like yearbooks or pictures, ephemera, different brochures, things like that. And then digitize all of those materials that they get. So there might be people that don't want to give up their materials, but they would allow us to digitize it and then return it back to them. So they'd be responsible for digitizing and then organizing the whole collection over the summer. And then my place in that would be I would work as the grant manager of reporting everything back to the American Library Association, who is the grant manager for this part of the ARP. And then working hours outside of my contract over the summer. Any questions?
And that's proposed to start just when your term technically ends, when summer
Right.
ends. Okay.
So May 25th, is that our last day of school?
Yeah, 24th is it
24th?
Tuesday? Yeah, last teacher day, the 25th. You're correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And doesn't it would just be for this summer?
Correct.
Is that all? Okay.
Correct.
All right. Any questions for Mr. Henson? Okay.
This is
Thank
a
you.
huge void for us as
It
a
is.
district from a historical standpoint. So I appreciate Mr. Hensley being willing to tackle that task of trying to put that information together, because that is Elizabethan High School history. Even though it was a different school, it's part of who we are. So it's important that we find some way to collect that. You know, every day we're going to lose another piece of that. So we need to try to gather that. So appreciate you taking that task on.
Okay. All right, item is to approve the creation of 2 part-time summer library interns and 1 grant manager utilizing funding received through the American Rescue Plan Humanities grants for libraries. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. And any opposed? And the motion carries. Do we have anything to sign, Ms. Felicia? Do we need to stay? Just me, okay. The next regularly scheduled meeting will be May 19th at 5:30 here in the boardroom. We're adjourned.
Hope you enjoy the rest of your food.
Yeah, thank you.